You are listening to Ayomide, where complex idea becomes simple. You can be in a room full of people, laughing, talking, present, and still feel completely alone. If you have ever felt that, and most people have, this episode is going to explain exactly why that happens and why it is becoming more common than ever before. Most people think loneliness is about being physically alone. No friends around, nobody to call, an empty house. But that is not what loneliness actually is. Loneliness researchers, people who have spent decades studying this, define it as the gap between the social connection you have and the social connection you want. Let me say that again more simply. Loneliness is not about how many people are in your life. It is about how you it is about how seen and understood you feel by the people who are. This is why you can have 100 friends and still feel it. That is why you can be married and still feel it. That is why you can be the most popular person in the room and still go home feeling empty. It is not about quantity. It has never been about quantity. It is about depth. Now, here is where it gets more interesting. Your brain treats loneliness the same way it treats physical pain. When researchers put people in the brain scanners and showed them images of being excluded, the same part of the brain that lights up when you break your arm lit up. Your brain registers social disconnection as a physical threat. This is not weakness. This is ancient biology. For most of human history, being separated from your group meant death, predators, starvation, no shelter. So your brain evolved to treat social rejection as a survival emergency. But here is the problem. We are living in 2026 with brains that were designed for small tribes of 50 people, and we are surrounded by what? Thousands of connections, online, offline, at work, on social media that looks like connection but feels like nothing. Therefore, your brain is doing something very specific right now that is making loneliness feel worse. When you feel lonely, your brain goes into threat mode. And in that threat mode, your brain becomes hypersensitive to social signals. It starts reading neutral situation as rejection. A friend who did not reply becomes someone who does not care. A quiet room becomes evidence that nobody wants you around. This is called the loneliness loop. The lonelier you feel, the more your brain misreads social situations. The more isolated you become, the lonelier you feel. It feeds itself. And social media has made this significantly worse. Not because social media is evil, but because it gives your brain the visual impression of connection without the actual experience of it. Scrolling through people's life, watching their highlights, liking their photos, your brain sees social activities, but it does not feel seen. It does not feel understood. And that gap between the appearance of connection and the actual experience of it is where modern loneliness exists. So, what actually helps? It is not more connection, it is the deeper ones. Research consistently shows that one relationship where you feel genuinely seen and understood does more for loneliness than 50 surface level connections. The goal is not to have more people in your life. The goal is to have at least one person, maybe two, who actually knows you. Not the version of you that you perform for the world, the real one. And that requires something people are terrified of in an age of curated lives and highlight reels. Honesty, real honesty. Letting someone see the part of you that you normally hide. That's uncomfortable, but it's the only thing that actually closes the gap. Let me leave you with this. Loneliness is not about being alone. It has never been about that. It is about feeling unseen. And in the world that has never been more connected, we have never been worse at actually seeing each other. The answer is not more followers, not more group chats, not more social events. It is one honest conversation with one person who actually knows you. Start there. That is episode 3 of Ayomide, where complex ideas become simple. If this explains something you have been carrying without words for it, that is exactly why this channel exists. Subscribe right now if you have not already. Every day I take one idea that affects your real life and break it down simply and honestly. You do not want to miss what's coming next. I will see you again.